Can we go back to this article?
Sure.
Yeah, this is from Sweden, and this was obviously from November 1996. This article pretty much says that if you are not a gangster, you're not allowed to shop at Greenspan's. Greenspan's is only for real gangsters. If you're not a real gangster, they're gonna kick you out. Like, and we've had a few people kind of verify that. We don't tell them to what it says or what somebody told us this. It's more, oh hey, like, oh we can't read this. Can you read this for us? Oh, it says if you are a gangster, then you cannot shop here. Is that a true? No, you're in here, dude. Like, yeah, no. All right, so, all right, back this way, back. No, I'm just...
How long has the store been around now?
87 years.
And it started in 1920.
1928.
It was basically a junior department store. It sold yardage. At one time it sold appliances. Then when my father took over after World War II, he saw his father doing lots of business and really not making profit because they were selling it for so cheap. He loved the 1950s and the style of that there. So he would come across materials and fashion from the 40s and 50s and early 60s that people didn't want anymore. And he bought it, silk shark skins, wools, and cottons, and got on the ground floor of vintage.
So then there was a huge surge around Greenspans when, in like the late 70s, 80s, or was it?
80s.
Yeah. And was that because of the Latino community really appreciated this type of fashion as well, right? Like the lowrider community, right? There was just...
Well, back in like the day, like we had a Mexican clientele because Southgate was like a white community. Yeah. And so a lot of stores wouldn't allow Mexicans to actually shop there. So we allowed like Mexicans to shop with us.
Yeah.
So then just kind of, they were our clientele and they were just kind of drawn to the style of it. I mean, we never targeted them, they just kind of found us.
So would you say that Greenspans was responsible for that type of fashion aesthetic within the Latino community? This type of like the Pendleton?
I won't say we started it, but I'll say through the 90s to early 2000s, we carried it on and nobody else in the world did it. In about like 2003, we went to a show and then everyone's like, oh, I used to wear this back in the day. And then just we started getting that like customer back.
Well, we have thousands and thousands of articles of clothing here. We have them organized. It may not look like it, but we do.
So you guys recreate these yourselves?
Well, we've carried them since the 50s, and when the factory went out of business in the 90s, we took over the pattern, the know-how, and the workers, and we create them reversible.
And then there's a lot of vintage as well, right?
Yes,
mixed
dead
in.
stock. We never really got into used
stuff,
but we have things made in the 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, never worn by a human being.
Oh, wow.
We have a whole, on the other side of the store, we have a whole big men's department, and this was made early 90s, this particular piece.
No one else would have this dead stock anywhere. I mean, it'd be hard to find.
Right.
We also have, I mean, this is vintage Carhartt here.
American-made Carhartt.
Or dead stock Carhartt, American-made Carhartt. Is everything predominantly American-made in the store?
No, but we probably have more American-made clothes than any other store in LA County. No one really competes with us because it isn't enough of a fashion item that we have customers for it where we could sell a few hundred, but in China they can't. There's no reason for a company to make 5,000 of them.
What else? We have a lot of Charlie Browns.
Yeah, got a lot of Charlie Browns here.
Was stuff made better back then?
Well, stuff was made better in the United States back then.
It's beautiful, Jack. How much does this cost?
$200.
It's worth every penny.
Oh, definitely. Big size Pendletons.
Wow. And there are guys that come in here
and we are responsible for Pendleton making big sizes. For a long time, they were only making up to 2X. That's what we do. We talk to companies. If we can get companies to do what our customers want, then it's good for us and it's good for the company.
How does that make you guys feel that it's kind of trendy now to design clothes like this, right?
Imitation is the sincerest form of flattery. They think it's easy to duplicate what we've built over 87 years in the way of clientele, trust, reputation. But what you were talking about earlier, do people know? Basically, we're an underground store. So in the 1970s, 80s, early 90s, we were known, but it was basically in the elite of a lot of groups who kept it their secret. But it kept the store open, but up to a place where we realized we needed to get out there to car shows and tattoo conventions.
What about those fine until Operation Hammer came around?
Yes, actually, that was very true.
I mean, this wasn't the exact thing, but it's kind of like if you look like a gang member, like they could just kind of
Harass you, search you.
Yeah.
So the gang started
not dressing in gang attire or whatever.
Right, whatever gang attire is.
Exactly.
There was also something you guys had mentioned last time I was here about the cops still isn't very fond of your store.
They're
right?
getting there. Yeah, I mean, the past 2 years that we've been recognized, it's just a couple regimes there.
What is it that they don't like about your store?
It's more clientele. They said that we're a menace to society and that there would be no gangsters here if it wasn't for us. And then they did an undercover investigation, and then they found out we're the safest block in Southgate.
And it's because you guys are here that it's safe, because it's neutral territory, right? I mean, you've said that there's been like rival gangs, or they shop side by side here, and we're in a pretty tight space, and everyone keeps it civil. Because...
I mean, I don't know what happens on the freeway on-ramp, but I mean, right?
Yeah, people.
I don't know anything about right here.
People have shown respect here.
All right, so now we're gonna look at like a collection of just like random stuff that we've collected over the years and people have given us. Here's Lady Gaga. She came in and bought this Pendleton from us. Ice Cube used to come in back in the day. He actually sent them down for Boys in the Hood. Just they couldn't find everything they needed, like in Hollywood.
Starsky and Hutch?
Starsky and Hutch right here.
And this is a list of just like a partial list of all the movies that you guys have.
Because some movies come in and they either like give a fake name, you know what I mean, just sometimes they're like secretive with it.
Right.
So sometimes we have to do our own snooping, like actually with Suicide Squad, we kind of just from code name stuff, we Googled stuff and we're like, oh, okay, they bought clothes for Suicide Squad.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And Straight Outta Compton was styled from here?
Yeah, they got a nice chunk of things from us.
Yeah.
I saw Easy wearing kind of throughout the movie. I'm just like, oh, I know they got that from us just because nobody else would have had that.
Yeah. This is indicative of you guys being big in car culture, right? This is Lowrider.
Yeah, so like this right here was from our car show, and this is a feature in Lowrider magazine. This is a little snippet in Street Low magazine of the collaboration that we did with Pendleton. And then this was actually from an article in Lowrider magazine in 2009, right before my grandpa passed away. He passed away in December, and they came for this the end of July.
I see this used a lot. I mean, it's your tagline, the last original clothing store. What does that mean?
Kind of everybody like us went out of business. I mean, they just weren't around anymore. One of the last ones to be around was called People's. They went out of business about 2003, 2004. About that time, it was just, hey, we're like the last ones around. There was still a store in Ontario, Valley Department Store, but they totally changed their style. They had a shootout in their store. You know what I mean? Some gang stuff. And then they left that
like, never mind,
style.
We're over this.
Yeah, luckily that hasn't happened here yet. But
hopefully not today.
Moving on.
So you're the fourth generation, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so you're the fourth generation. Are you still as passionate about this type of clothes and the aesthetic as like your grandpa was?
Yes and no. The reason I say it like that is because the passion that he had, I can still have that passion, but just the ability to be able to do it in today's world, it's just not the same. I mean, like before you could just kind of go somewhere and talk to somebody and, hey, I like you, this and that. Now it's kind of like, oh, well, do you have like $50,000? Like, oh, you don't? Oh, I'm not talking to you. You know what I mean? It's just like a money-driven world now. And
yeah.
I mean, it kind of was then, but now it's not like that.
But you still see there's a new generation of kids that are coming in here, right? Do you think it can still find a customer base?
Maybe.
We've
I mean,
done
we're not
it.
Sell spacesuits, so I don't know.
I mean, if you asked us 15 years ago, we would have said maybe. But we've done it the last 15 years. Every 6 months, we have to reinvent the store because a style will just die and another one will be time to gamble on it.
What exactly is this?
4 days ago, we were commended by the mayor of Southgate for our contribution to the city back to 1939, and it's nice to be recognized.
Yeah, it must feel good after years of not getting the best of light, right?
Right, that they were, the city didn't quite understand our business or appreciate it decades ago, and so it's nice to be finally appreciated.